Hey guys, it's TNN and today we're going to have a look at the Labist ET4 3D printer. Now this was sent to me by a company called Ultimea, and they've also sent us a surround sound system before, which we went and reviewed. I'll put the link to that down below in the description. But in this video they've sent us this Labist ET4 3D printer. We're going to go ahead and check it out. Link to it will be down in the description. And right now we're printing a rocket, so stay tuned to see how it turns out. So after multiple attempts, and I mean multiple, I've been on it for about 2 hours, probably maybe even more, trying to level this bed. I ended up leveling it manually because the auto leveling just wasn't working for me, and you can see the amount of mistakes that the printer did make. It even left marks into the actual bed. It scratched it up, which is annoying, but luckily this is just a cover that you can peel off and put a new one on. The glass underneath is perfectly fine. Luckily the nozzle's fine as well. The nozzle didn't get damaged. We are currently printing the rocket, so we'll see how it turns out. On the screen over here we do have the temperature of the actual filament, which we're using PLA right now, and then also the bed temperature, which is 40 degrees. And then we got the speed as well, which is set to 100% speed, and we can see the time here, time gone past 5 minutes. And this is a 0.5 hour rocket, so it should take half an hour to print, and we've done 14% of it. So we're going to go ahead and let it just continue, and we'll see how this rocket turns out. Really, this is the first print that this 3D print has actually done properly because of multiple errors, but this is the first time we're actually going through it. So let's see how it turns out. Finished, this is what it will say: print finished. Go ahead and press OK, and that's it. And if you go on settings, and you can bring your bed towards you a bit more. There you go. And now you're allowed for it to cool down for about 10 minutes before you start to take away our little printed piece. So we'll let it cool down and we'll have a look at it in a bit more detail. So here we have it. Here is our first print. Now I did pull at the tip because there was a bit of plastic filament hanging off of it, so I started pulling on it, and instead it started pulling the strands round and round, so now we've got a hole on the top. So tip for the future, maybe cut off any excess filament because it will start extracting it all the way around otherwise. So yeah, it's got a bit of a hole in it now, but tip for the future, cut it off, do not pull on it. And the actual print itself is actually really good. So of course you will always see printing lines, but it's super minimal on this one over here, and we've got some sort of text on the side over here. So this was one of the sliced 3D print files that was on the SD card provided, and there was this, there was a dog, and there was a cat, so there's 3 provided. But we're also going to try and print the famous boat, you know, for the actual check of how good the 3D printer is printing. That is like the standard for 3D printers, you always print the boat. So we will go and print that boat as well. But for the first ever print, not bad, worked out quite well. Right, so I've gone ahead and done my second print ever. Here it is. It is a dog, and it's actually turned out pretty well. So the way I like to peel it off is sometimes you can feel it's a bit hard and stiff and you don't want to break it. Hopefully it can come off, but you got this bit over here now, which you're going to really struggle to take off. All I do is I literally just peel the heated bed up, just slowly, and it's actually just stuck on with 3M anyway. As you peel it, it helps lift up the plastic. And then it should be able to just come off like so. So this was just the base for the actual dog to stand on. But yeah, we'll clean that up as well with some scrapers. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go for the Benchy print. Now the Benchy is the boat, so I'm going to go ahead and print that Benchy. But if you have a closer look at the dog, it's done a pretty good job. You can see the strings over here which you can tidy up and clean up. Like over there as well, bit of stringing. But the actual print itself is really smooth and detailed. You got the eyes, you got the mouth, you got the paws. Yeah, it's pretty good, and it's pretty strong as well. This one was built with a bit of inner structure compared to the Rocket, which was just quite skinny and flimsy. And this took 2.5 hours to print, where the Rocket took half an hour. So yeah, pretty good job. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can print that Benchy. But we'll need to get a slicer and all the software that we need installed on the laptop, so we'll go ahead and do that. Now I've got some better lighting on it. I forgot to mention, you can see the slight imperfections on it, so you can see where the filament's fluffing a bit on the top near the tail. You can see where it's scuffed a bit, scratched a bit over there. But for a sort of DIY printer, or printer you're going to use to make tools, or printer you're going to use to learn, a printer for beginners, this is really good. It's a really good printer for beginners. Like it's performed pretty well. I mean, it's performed in its price range. This isn't a £500, $500, $800 printer. This is only around $200. So you expect it to have a few imperfections like this. It's not going to be the most amazing quality, and that might also be with the PLA that was provided with the printer as well. So maybe if I switch up the PLA as well and see how it prints, then we can see if it does a better job. But it's got the details of the eyes and the eyebrows really nice. It's just really slight imperfections here and here. But if you're using it to make tools or things around the house or around work or just for fun, it really does do the job. To be fair, it's really good. So after a lot of failed attempts and a lot of hard work, I've managed to start printing the Benchy, and it is working. So we have set up Ultimea, Cura, and I've gone ahead and sliced a Benchy profile, a Benchy STL file into a G code, which I put into the SD card inside here. So I just take the SD card out, put it in this USB stick that's what's provided. Put this in my laptop using Ultimea Cura. I can slice it into a G-code file. So an STL file is your 3D print file, which you can get templates from in STL files. And then I slice it on Cura into a G-code file, and then put it in here because the 3D printer reads G-code files, and that's how it knows what to print. So once that was done, I managed to finally get it to start printing, and it is doing a pretty decent job there. You can see here, it's doing really well, and it's nearly done. It's not too far left for it to finish off. Now, I was having a lot of issues with printing this Benchy, and it was mainly to do with the filament. This filament that was provided is quite a low quality filament, to be honest with you. It kept getting chewed up, and then these fibers and the filament was getting flat and jammed inside the filament tube, or the extraction tube. So then what was happening was it was managing to print the Benchy, and then it would stop, and then it would just be blocked and wouldn't print anymore, and it would just keep going, but it's not printing anymore. So I've changed the filament with some new filament that I've got from Creality. So this one here is a Creality filament over here. You can see it over here actually. You see that box here, Creality and 3D printing filament. That cost me around £24 for 2 kilos, so 1 kilo in white, 1 kilo in black. And that printing is doing a hell of a lot better now. Look at that. It is doing so much better. And you can tell already with the print quality as well, the actual quality of the material is a lot better with the Creality filament. So we'll show you a comparison once it's all printed and done, so you can see the quality of the actual print as well, and then we'll compare it. So here we have it, our first Benchy is now printed, and I have to say I think it's done a pretty good job. For the first time, you know, probably need a little bit of more fine tuning to get these little clarities here where the circle's not fully perfect here. We've got a little bit of a rigid line right over there, but for the first time, printing the Benchy. It's done actually a really good job. It's done very, very well on printing these parts over here, on sealing the top of the roof, you know, without it collapsing in on itself. It's done a pretty damn good job. And for a 3D printer that's mainly designed for beginners and for educational or making tools, this is a very, very good 3D printer. I mean, it's not one of those £1,000 plus 3D printer. Don't expect it to be that quality. For the price that you pay for this, you're getting a very good 3D printer for beginners and for people who are looking to learn, use it for educational purposes, or use it to just make tools or things around the house. This is a really good printer. You can see over here the detailing, the layering is very good, a lot less stringier than the other filament, so definitely the Creality Ender filament made a massive difference on this printer. It really enjoys using that filament, so we'll definitely be playing around in the future with different filament types. But other than that, I'm going to have to give it a good score. I'm going to have to give this printer a really good score of 9 out of 10. I mean, it really does what it's meant to do out of the box. Like all 3D printers, though, don't expect it to be easy. Don't expect it to just, you know, turn on, set up, and it'll start printing straight away. It takes a lot of trial and error and hard work to get to a point where it starts to print. But once you're there, the satisfaction is really worth it. So, as always, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. And peace out.